with Hurricane Idalia making landfall as a Category 3 hurricane, bringing with it over 16 feet of storm surge and leaving some locals out on some inflatable ducks. Could we expect more hurricanes that affect the homeland in the near future? And is another heat wave making a return, and could that cause some severe weather? I'll be breaking that all down coming up in this video. Howdy y'all, welcome back. We're going to start off looking at the National Hurricane Center as we do now have post-tropical cyclone Idalia. Looks like it's going to affect the Bermuda Islands through the early morning hours of Sunday. Now this was a pretty historic hurricane as we do not see strong hurricanes like this that often on the western side of Florida, surprisingly. Now it left the country as fast as it came in. It left the evening of the 30th. It brought over 16 feet of storm surge over by the Big Bend area of Florida. So it looks like it's left the country and now it's just spinning away out here. And we do have a couple new tropical storms out here. We have Tropical Storm Gert. Looks like that's just going to churn out into the Atlantic and not affect anybody and just die off by 8 o'clock in the evening on Sunday. We do have another one called Katia. Looks like that's just going to turn into a little bit of a tropical storm by Sunday morning and then it's going to die off by 11 o'clock in the morning on Monday. Now this won't affect anybody either unless a miracle happens and it just churns this way and hits the coast, but that's highly unlikely. Something we got to be concerned about and on guard about is this tropical storm chance, which is a 70% chance here in the main development region. And take a look at this further. I want to look at the surface pressure map on the Euro model. As we can see, we got Idalia out here, what was Hurricane Franklin. Both of these were pretty strong hurricanes at one time. Of course, we have Gert out here and Katia. But as we push this forward, we see that they're doing the spinneroonie out there like Booker T. As we can see, we have a little something forming right here by the 5th. And this is where our tropical storm chance comes into play as it's going to start to turn into a little low pressure system by the 6th. Now, where it goes is very uncertain at this point. And the models will lie to you, because it could go multiple different ways. As you can see, as it gets to right here, it could go this way, or it could go this way, or it could recurve and go that way. Now, most likely it will recurve due to that El Nino pattern that we were talking about earlier in the year on my hurricane forecast video. But if it does churn this way or this way, go into Florida or on the coasts of the Carolinas, then this could cause major problems. And I will keep y'all updated moving forward, so make sure you hit that subscribe button down below so you never miss a forecast video. And this is where we make weather forecasting fun and informative. As we look at the Euro model, we can see that it is looking like it's going to do that little recurve pattern. And out here in the Pacific, we have another tropical storm chance, an 80% chance. Now, I don't think this will affect much of anybody, but still something to keep our eye on. And as we take a look at the surface pressure map, you can see not much is going to be going on until right around the same time as the other tropical storm chance is going to happen. As you can see, this little low pressure system here, it looks like that's just going to churn out into the Pacific and not really affect anybody. Now, it could possibly bring some high surf over here to Southern California, but that's really, I think, the only impact it's going to have. It's not going to be like Hurricane Hillary was, but still something to watch and something to keep our eye on. So now that we know what kind of tropical storms and hurricanes are forming out there in the Atlantic and in the Pacific, let's go ahead and look at the severe weather outlook for the next 3 days. As it looks like today, we just have general thunderstorms going on out here out west and south and over here in New York and parts of Wisconsin and Minnesota and Michigan. To move off into Sunday, we do have a marginal risk over here in parts of Nevada, south of Idaho, west of Utah, and a little sliver of Northwest Arizona is involved in that as well. There is no tornado threat to speak of tomorrow, but there is a damaging wind and a large hail threat, which is a small chance. It's a 5% chance, but still a chance nonetheless. As we move off into Labor Day, looks like your Labor Day plans will be ruined if you live over here in the Dakotas. Now, we do not know the main risk just yet, but please stay tuned to my little Twitter page. Make sure you go follow that. Stay up to date. Now, there's also a big flooding chance today. There is no severe weather, but there is a big flooding chance. There's a slight risk, excessive rainfall. It's another chance for tomorrow as well, over here in parts of Utah, Idaho, and parts of Wyoming. And on Labor Day, another flooding chance over here in parts of Wyoming and Montana. So if you're curious as to the timing of the severe weather, if you live in the marginal risk zone, let's go ahead and take a look at that. And as we zoom into the marginal risk zone on Sunday, Take a look at the name 3 kilometer model. Keep in mind the date and times over here. This is in Eastern time as well. As we look over here for today, we have a lot of showers and thunderstorms today, non-severe, but there is a slight risk for excessive rainfall in this area, so please just keep that in mind if you live in a low-lying area where flooding is possible. If you're out on the roads, turn around and do not drown. They push us off into Sunday. We'll be dealing with some scattered showers and thunderstorms. It's going to start to turn severe into the evening hours of Sunday. As you can see, we have some heavy showers and thunderstorms over here by Nevada and over here just west of Salt Lake City, but right around 6 o'clock. Now, any of these storms could turn into some big hailers and provide some pretty strong winds, as that is the primary threat tomorrow. There is no tornado threat to speak of for tomorrow, so there's nothing to worry about there. Just tie things down that you don't want blown around and bring anything in you don't want damage from hail. It looks like it's going to last all the way through right around 1 o'clock in the morning before it starts to get out of Salt Lake City. Now, as we focus our attention to the Labor Day forecast, if you live in any of these colored zones, please be aware your Labor Day plans might be ruined. Especially over here in the Dakotas, as y'all are under a marginal risk for severe weather. And take a look at this. We're going to take a look at the low resolution NAM. As it pushes forward to the 4th, see we're going to be dealing with some light rain showers through the early morning hours and early afternoon hours of Labor Day. If we get a little bit of a break, we could be getting a little bit of a clearing out there in the atmosphere, which could result in an unstable atmosphere, which could result in some pretty strong storms. Where it looks like the strongest of the severe weather on Monday is going to be happening through the late evening hours. And it's going to be happening over here just south of North Dakota near Bismarck by that time. Where it looks like a line of showers and thunderstorms could bring some strong winds and possibly some tornadoes could be possible. But again, we do not know the main risks just yet. So make sure you are subscribed to this channel and make sure you are following my Twitter page, as I will keep y'all updated if anything does change and this does upgrade to a slight risk. Looks like it's going to be getting out of the area through the early morning hours of Tuesday. So now that we know the main risk the next few days and we know what kind of tropical storms and hurricanes are forming out there, it's going to see if there is going to be a potential heat wave that's going to be coming back. As you can see on the little ticker above, major heat wave is going to potentially come back. And to determine whether or not a major heat wave is going to be making a comeback, we're going to take a look at the 500 millibар height anomalies, where the blues represent the troughing patterns and the reds over here, they represent the ridging patterns. Pushes forward, looks like a major ridging pattern is going to be set up for quite some time until a little bit of a troughing pattern is going to be setting in out west. This could result in some cooler weather and even severe weather over here in parts of the central and midwest part of the country, where we already know there's a marginal risk for severe weather over here in the Dakotas on Labor Day. As it pushes further into the future, it looks like this troughing pattern is going to be setting in for a little bit until the major heat wave and ridging pattern is going to be taking back over by the 9th. Until little troughing pattern is going to be taking over the northeastern part of the country by the 11th. Now, this is pretty far out. This is over 240 hours out. Still a lot can change between now and then. This is something to keep our eye on, as we could be coming into some below average temperatures by the middle of the month. And to determine whether or not we're going to come into a below average temperature trend or above average temperature trend, take a look at the temperature anomalies, where we know we've been pretty cool out here out east this past week, and out west remaining cool, while central part of the country has been way above average here as of late. It looks like a major heat wave is going to be taking over the central to eastern part of the country, while the western part of the country are going to be pretty nice, and especially over here in parts of the deep south as well. Now, this will change, as I was stating earlier, that a major ridging pattern is going to be taking over, where you can see above average temperatures are taking over much of the country except for over here in the Dakotas. As we push off into the middle of the month, we can see that this pattern is flipping again. You can see much of the northeastern part of the country and even parts of the south over here in the blue are coming into a below average temperature trend. But as we can see on the 6 to 10 day temperature outlook, we can see that it's in disagreement with the temperature anomaly map, and it looks like much of the country is going to be above average. And even some of you have asked if we'll ever get a cool off down here in Texas. Well, unfortunately, it looks like above average temperatures are expected for the next 6 to 10 days. The next 8 to 14 days looks just about the same. No relief in sight, although on the temperature anomaly map, it looks like much of the western part of the country is going to come into some pretty nice temperatures. Let's go and jump into the precipitation outlook for the next 6 to 10 days. It looks like the central to the northeastern part of the country, y'all are going to be above average. Wall states from Washington down into Florida, y'all are going to come into a drying pattern. And y'all need it down here in Florida. Y'all have been slammed by Hurricane Idalia. Next 8 to 14 days looks just about the same. Now, I'm sure y'all are curious as to what kind of temperatures you could expect, as we're going to come into a little bit of a below average trend according to the temperature anomaly maps. As you can see, we're going to be coming into some pretty chilly air from the northwest part of the country. Well, it looks like the central part of the country, we're going to be coming into some 100-degree temperatures as far north as North Dakota and Montana. It looks like this pattern is going to change as this cooler air is pushing further to the east, and that's why we have the severe weather threat on Labor Day up here in the Dakotas. Cool air fighting with the hot air. Looks like even more hot air is going to come into much of the central to eastern part of the country before this pattern shifts a little bit by the middle of the month. As you can see, some cool Canadian air is coming down from the northeast part of the country into sort of the Ohio Valley area. Now lastly, let's take a look at the simulated radar. As we know, we got some severe weather for Sunday out west, which is going to result in some flooding. Of course, on Labor Day, we got that severe weather threat up in the Dakotas, and we could come into some strong showers and thunderstorms down here in Missouri and parts of Arkansas and Tennessee. And it looks like it's going to remain dry out west, while the Ohio Valley could come into a severe weather trend. As you can see, we have a little low pressure system setting up over here just east of Michigan, so I'm going to keep an eye on there. Some heavy showers over here, parts of Arkansas by the 9th. As we head off into the 11th, it looks like no severe weather is in store as fall is right around the corner. So it looks like we have some tropical storm activity out in the main development region and even out there in the Pacific. Definitely something to keep an eye on, and I will keep you all updated. Anything does change. Looks like a major heat wave is coming back, although we've been in a little cooling trend. But don't worry, after we get past this week, we're going to come into some cooler air as fall is right around the corner. And watch out for severe weather as the western part of the country and even up in the Dakotas, y'all are under a marginal risk for the next couple days. So just please be aware of that. And if you're out there traveling, having cookouts with your family on Labor Day, you live in these areas that are colored, looks like your Labor Day plans are going to be ruined. And it looks like it's going to be a scorcher out there. If you like the video, please hit that thumbs up button. Don't forget to subscribe down below. I appreciate each and every one of y'all for watching. Constructive feedback is always appreciated. Appreciate each and every one of y'all for leaving feedback down below. And until next time, never stop forecasting.